My name is Gwen Whitney. I am the former SVP of Commercial Operations and Market Access at Global Blood Therapeutics. My group included multiple functions within. I had our forecasting and analytics, all of our operations functions, as well as our team that was tasked with ensuring access for patients. Business communication is very important in terms of our ability to effectively communicate to the organization. What does the data tell us? What do the insights say? So that that information can be used to inform the business, to shape the business, and ultimately to drive the business. So I would say the time that we were putting in to making slides, to coming up with what does the story say, to trying to make sure that we communicate to the organization and key stakeholders was, I would say, a heavy lift. It took oftentimes more time than the work itself, and it was really inefficient for us because, again, our goal was not to be a communication shop. It was to be a shop that was focused on data, analytics, insights, operations, really supporting the business. So when you take people who that's their core skill set away and ask them to work on slides, it's really not sort of the best use of the talent. There's a lot of work where we partner with vendors. And so we would also have to ask those vendors to do that work and pay them extra to do that work because really what they were doing was data and analytics work for us. But then we were asking them to do a whole nother work stream, which was now package it in a way that works for internal stakeholders. So it was sort of like doing the work twice and paying to have two different sets of work done. So we signed up in my group to get started with it. And I don't know that we imagined what came next. We ended up creating really great business communications, getting to the place where there were lots of compliments on how the group would put together a story, how the group put together work, whether it be for earnings calls or POA meetings. And I think people started to look at what was coming out of our group and noticed that it had a very nice sort of uniformity around it. And then the marketing team was like, wait, why do their slides look so good? Why does their work looking so good? We want whatever they're doing. So it was really interesting to see how it grew. It was about 10 or 15 people that we started with. And then again, once people saw what the outputs of the work and sort of what our business communications were looking like, and marketing said we want in. Marketing then added another, it was 10 or 15 people, so expanded to their group. And then it went to all of commercial, which ended up being, a much bigger group. And then we ended up saying, there were other groups outside of commercial that wanted in. And at that point, it made sense to do an enterprise license. But it was really the product, what was the output of what we were able to get from the software that I think got people really excited around how well we were able to communicate, how great things looked visually, how well we were able to storytell. And I think it was just super compelling for people to want to be a part of that. A lot of people were able to build their individual brands on how effectively they're able to communicate. And I think no one wants to be left behind when they see someone be able to do something like that. One was, when you log into the system and you're going to start doing some work, it first asks you, who are you doing the presentation for? So it's able to support you and really differentiate the output of what's going to get put together based on the audience. So if you say this is for the C-suite or senior leadership, it's going to look very different than if you say it's for a field sales team. And being able to have that sort of intuition and knowledge and help you build a presentation that's appropriate for the stakeholder type was something that we really appreciated. And it brought a lot of value to us. So again, there's many stakeholders in between that, but no matter what stakeholder we were asking for, it was able to do it, put things together at the right level. And that's, I think, sort of foundational to business communication, is being able to communicate at the right level and with the right level of detail. One other thing that we very much enjoyed is, in particular for me, because I had a lot of data and analytics people on the team, oftentimes data and analytics people will tell you what the data says, says, but what we really need in terms of having high caliber business communication is we have to take that data and analytics and put it into a story. And there was a feature in the software that really helps you be able to focus on story and structure of story. So as opposed to just putting together slides that say, here's what the data says, here's what the data says, it forces you into what is a story from the beginning to the end, and sort of having that framework in the way you would put together any business communication. People were doing their work from 8 to 5 and working on business communications after hours, which was not ideal. I would say that, there was a point where people were spending 60, 70, 80% of their time on packaging, because they're really smart people and can do the analysis and data work, but they were spending more than half their time on making sure that we were able to effectively communicate. And that has very much changed. And I would say now 20% of our time is spent on business communications, and 80% of our time is spent on getting deep in the work and making sure that the insights and the analysis are robust, deep, and thoughtful. There were significant cost savings through us committing to a partnership with Prezent. We hire very smart people, and it is not financially efficient to ask really smart people to spend a disproportionate amount of time on slide presentations. We want really smart people to work on data science and data analysis and research and insights type questions and work. So it became much more financially efficient and financially smart for us to take that work off and give it to Prezent, the experts, and make sure that we were able to get the most value out of our employees by letting them work in the place where they personally bring the most value. I would be remiss if I didn't mention the other service line that Prezent offers, which is their overnight business presentation service. There were often times where we just needed quick turnaround, and where we would go to Prezent and sort of we might sketch out what we need, or we might give them some notes on what we need. And as long as we had it in by 6 p.m., we were able to get slides back by 8 or 9 a.m. the next morning. And we loved how they'd give us, not just one version of a slide that we could use for each particular slide idea, but we'd get 2 and 3 ideas for each slide. So you'd get sort of a framework back that you were able to quickly maneuver into a tight business communication to be able to use as soon as the next day. I would give Prezent a 10, and I have recommended Prezent to many of my colleagues. So absolutely a 10 on a recommendation scale. For other business leaders that are looking for, how do I help my team show up better? How do I help my team communicate better? How do I up-level individuals on my team or my team as a whole? How do I help my team more effectively communicate and be flexible for communicating to different audiences? If any of those are a leader's goals, then they absolutely should look for partnership with Prezent.